Remember that time when someone anonymous sent letters to the whole town exposing a woman in her affair? No? Welcome to History in the Minute Tree. In 1976, a married couple, Mary and Ron Gillespie, lived in a small town of Circleville, Ohio. There's your problem. It's Ohio. Yeah, I'll walk myself out after that one. Mary worked as a bus driver for the local school, and one day she came home from work finding a letter that was directed to her with no return address, although it was postmarked Columbus, Ohio. It said,
"We know you're having an affair with the superintendent of the school. You must stop and come clean and tell your husband. If you don't, bad things are going to happen to you. We're watching your house. We know you have children."
After Mary read the letter, she was obviously freaked out and didn't know what to do, so she threw it out.
Why would you throw it out?
A week goes by and Mary receives another letter. This letter has even more threats.
"If you don't stop this now, we are going to harm you. This is not a joke."
Okay, so we know it's not a hoax and the threats are getting serious. The best choice is to call the police, right? Mary again throws this letter out.
Mary!
The next morning, Ron, the husband, went to go get the mail, and there was a letter. This time, it was addressed to him. The letter stated that Ron's wife was cheating on him with the superintendent, and if he didn't confront her and make her admit to it, his life would be in danger. What did my boy Ron do? Ron was suspicious of the letter and told Mary about it, but Mary did not confess, and Ron believed her. Another week passes by when a letter pops up. The guy who was sending these letters has to be the one from Blue's Clues. Why are there so many? Blue always had letters. I wish someone would write to me like that. The letter said,
"Ron, it's been a week and you haven't done anything. You have to get her to admit the truth, otherwise not only are we going to put your life in danger, we are also going to broadcast what she's doing all over town, on billboards, radio, and on TV."
At this point, Ron and Mary are petrified. Ron still stands behind his wife and believes that she is not having an affair. They then decide to tell their close friends rather than the police in case it's a hoax.
These aren't love letters, they're threats. Get the police.
The three people they told were Ron's sister and her husband, Paul, along with Paul's sister. As the couple tells their inner circle about the letter, Mary believes she might know who it is, but she doesn't reveal who. Mary sent out a letter to who she thought it was, saying that they need to stop or they will get the law involved. After that, the anonymous letter stopped, until a year later in August of 1977. One night, Ron is at home with his kids while Mary's out and the phone rings.
"What's your favorite scary movie?"
Oh, wrong one. But when Ron picks up the phone, his mood changes from being calm to being enraged, and he tells his kids that he's going to confront the man who's been writing these letters. Ron then grabs his pistol, gets his keys, and peels off looking for him. Minutes later, Ron would be pronounced dead. Ron crashed his pickup truck into a tree and died on impact. Nobody else was found at the scene, police stated. It isn't a good story unless there's something weird about it. During the investigation, police found that Ron had fired one round from his pistol. They don't know what he was shooting at or who, only that he fired his pistol before he crashed. At first, the sheriff suspected foul play, but then changed his mind and said that Ron was drunk driving and was 1.5 times over the legal limit. To Ron's family, it didn't make any sense. Ron doesn't drink, and he didn't have anything to drink that day. After Ron's death, hundreds of anonymous letters were sent to the residents of Central Ohio. This dude has way too much time on his hands. Pick up a hobby or something. Do what I'm doing. Talking about you. This time the letter wasn't targeted at Mary or her affair. It was saying that the sheriff in Circleville is covering something up. It gets even more confusing when you compare the letters. At first, he's attacking Ron to confront his wife, and now after his death, he's defending Ron and attacking the sheriff. These letters go on for years until in 1983 when Mary admits she was having an affair. Sorry, I meant this one. Mary was thinking that if she admits to it, the letters and all of her problems would stop, but they didn't. One day at work, Mary was driving her bus route and she spotted billboards and signs saying that Mary's a cheater. She then gets angry and goes to take down a sign, and when she does, she finds a little box with a string attached to it. When she looks inside, there is a loaded gun that has a wire wrapped around the trigger with a slack pulled back, ready for it to fire. What kind of jigsaw shit is this? Had she pulled down the sign from a different angle, it would have triggered the gun to fire. She quickly calls the police. About damn time! The police arrive and begin inspecting the gun to find that the serial number wasn't etched off correctly. The gun was then traced back to Paul Freshour, the brother-in-law. Paul cooperated with police and said that his gun was stolen, but he didn't report it. Fishy. The same sheriff that investigated Ron's death also investigated this one. Double fishy. He made Paul submit to a handwriting test, and after the results being close enough, that swayed the jury to convict Paul. Paul was then sentenced to 7 to 24 years in jail. Case solved, right? Nope. While Paul was in solitary confinement, more letters were sent out again all over Central Ohio. But the public still believed that it was Paul. After Paul's 7 years were done, he was put up for parole but was denied because they still believed he was sending the letters. So, Paul wrote the letters then, right? No. Paul received the letter in solitary confinement, taunting him about his parole being denied. Free my man Paul, he ain't do nothing. But this letter wasn't written in first person like the others. It was written in third person, as in we.
We are keeping you in jail for as long as we can. That booby trap is not the only one. It's only a matter of time before somebody else finds one, and you're going to get blamed for that.
That was the last letter until 3 years later in 1993. Paul's parole was up once again. Paul would be granted his parole and be a free man until he passed away in 2012. A popular show came out in 1993 called Unsolved Mysteries. What a quinkydink. The TV show and crew decided to do an episode on this incident. As the TV crew were doing their research, they also received a letter.
If you come to Ohio, you El Secos will pay.
After receiving this letter, the crew decided to push forward with their research and go into Ohio. As the staff went into Ohio, they began interviewing witnesses involved and found a witness who hadn't been interviewed despite making herself available. This lady was a bus driver who drove the same route as Mary. Before Mary took down the sign, the other bus driver passed by and said that she saw a bright yellow El Camino sports car parked near the sign and a man standing at the back of it that did not resemble Paul. After that episode aired in 1993, nothing came of it. No letters, no threats, no deaths. Was it Paul Freshour that was sending these letters, the superintendent, the town sheriff, or someone else just wanting to terrorize a small town? We'll never know, leaving the Circleville letters unsolved. That's all I have for you guys today. I will see you all tomorrow at the same time in the same place. Stay safe, stay smart, and stay skeptical.